Tomomo, our Zerg player. Tomomo is going to be our orange Zerg in the bottom right-hand corner, and I believe this map is Darkness Falls, one of the new maps, and it's one that a lot of the players have been favoring. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have our blue Terran, and that's going to be DDE.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't seen DDE play for a while, but he's a super good Terran player. He's been around forever, very accomplished, always, you know, right up there in the top 8. Hasn't had any huge LAN wins or major tournament wins just yet, but he's a Korean player. And Tomomo, I'm not so sure about. I haven't seen that much of him. Could he be smurfing? Have you heard of him before?
I've never heard of Tomomo, actually. That's a good point. I've never heard of Tomomo. He could be a smurf. He could be a new player. Certainly doing pretty good to get to the round of 16 of the Mapmaker tournament as we're casting right here. By the way, guys, I think I'm going to take more of a, I don't want to say backseat role. I want to say more of like a beginner-friendly role here, because I know a lot of people are tuning in through IPL's stream right now and are constant viewers of IPL, and they're watching this day in and day out, and we have thousands of viewers already. I know there's a lot of fans who are here, but I know there's a lot of people in the office who may not know what StarCraft is. So
very true.
I'm going to take a little bit of a beginner's assistant role, I guess you
and
could
I'll
say.
take a little bit of a less technical role as well. You know, I can help explain things to the general masses as well. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Seeing as how our audience might be a little bit different today, especially our live audience.
Yep.
You know, we can try and explain things a little bit better.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too basic, though.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're a StarCraft fan. At least you've seen a game or two.
That's why we got this little yin and yang interaction going, you know?
Indeed.
All right, so...
you are the yin to my yang.
Yes. So anyways, guys, StarCraft 2 is a game where you collect resources, you make money, and you build an army, and you attack them. There's 3 races, Zerg, Terran, and Protoss. I'm just going to go through a brief introduction. And we have the Zerg. This is a Zerg player at the bottom right of the map. This is a Terran player at the bottom left. And essentially, these are the resources you collect. And you make money, you make gas, as you can see here. You make an army, and you're the general. You're the field commander of your armies. And essentially, the objective of the game is to kill your opponent's army and win the game.
Very true. It's kind of like chess on crack.
That's definitely the analogy a lot of people
with. Well, there's no turns, so it's not turn-based. It's real time. You're constantly making decisions. And yes, there are 2 different types of resources, and there is an economy aspect to it. There's also supply management. There's different build orders for the races. There's money management. I mean, there's so many different aspects to this game, and that's why, you know, the game is constantly evolving. We've never seen one player able to master StarCraft, as you've seen in, you know, certain other games. Like a game like checkers, for instance, I'm sure has a very high skill ceiling, but you can cap out, right? I'm sure there's only certain levels of like grandmaster checkers, but in StarCraft, it's never ending. There's no way to master the game.
The thing about StarCraft is there's so many various aspects you have to control. These are the minerals, as you can see, that the workers are mining. They're also mining gas here. But not only your economy, as you said before, you've got to manage your build order. You've got to manage your units on the field. You've got to, in the late game, there's so many different aspects going on that, like you said, the skill ceiling, incredibly high, and pretty much easy to learn, but impossible to master. That's the mantra of StarCraft 2.
Now, managing your units individually is called micromanagement, and that's what we call for any sort of fine control of units, micromanaging small groups of units, small armies, things like that. That's all micromanagement. Now, macromanagement is the overall, overarching aspect of the game. So controlling your supply, your production facilities, things of that nature is all macromanagement. Now, different players have different levels of those 2 things, and of course an all-around player obviously wants high levels in as many aspects of the game as possible. Now, from DDE here, it looks like we actually have an interesting opener from both players. Tomomo is doing a Roach Rush here, so he expanded and then he opened very quickly into Roaches, which are really sturdy, hardy units that are actually very stable against the Hellion, which is the only unit DDE has out right now. So DDE's in a little bit of trouble. He's not going to be able to fight those straight up, and he might actually take some damage here at his front door because he has no bunker and he has a command center going up right now. So this Banshee is really the only thing he's going to have to stop these, but it's going to take a while before that Banshee comes out.
Yeah, and at the same time, he's making a counterattack right here, which is really smart. He knows his Hellions can't go toe-to-toe with the Roaches, so he's going to send his Hellions in to destroy the economy of Tomomo, which he's doing a great job of. At the same time, though, he's trying to buy time for that Banshee to come out, which is an air-to-ground unit that can deal with the Roaches very easily. And look at the damage that DDE has done so far. He's killed off 13 workers of the Zerg economy already. He's only lost 2 Hellions, and in his base, it looks like his Banshee has come out, but at the same time, he may end up losing some workers of his own.
I think Tomomo is going to return the favor here a little bit. We have some SCVs being weakened, additional SCVs going down, but DDE actually has this timed out beautifully. The Banshee comes out to deal with the Roaches. Roaches obviously can't shoot air, so the Banshee, a flying unit, able to clean those up. It also does a lot of damage, so it can kill high armor units like the Roach. Now, we're kind of even right now. Actually, I'd say DDE's a little bit ahead. Obviously, he has mules. So technically, the Terran player, usually you can add about 4 harvesters, and that's about where he'll be if you factor in the mule. So coming out of this, both players relatively even. Neither player took enough damage that they're going to be out of the game here or anything like that. And this Banshee coming in now can be repelled by these queens. It doesn't have the cloak ability that you can research with the Banshee, so he's going to have to head on out of there. But that Banshee does have 6 kills, and I think most of those are Roaches, so it's certainly paid for itself already.
Absolutely, and it's now joined alongside by a second Banshee coming out of the starport now. 2 Banshees up in the air. They can certainly do a lot of damage. And it looks like there's only 1 anti-air defense structure here, the Spore Crawler, but it doesn't give enough coverage to protect the drones down on the bottom of that mineral field. So those 2 Banshees finding an opening, preventing mining from going on, and they're going to go ahead and scatter out of there, or skitter out of there, without taking any damage at all.
Some beautiful micro thus far out of DDE here, only taking 2 shots right there on that Spore Crawler, just picking off drones where he can without taking too much damage. And he's just basically using the Banshees right now for a little bit of map control and forcing Tomomo to get Spore Crawlers to make extra queens, and just invest resources in defending. Ooh, and as we're touting his great micro, he accidentally loses a Banshee right there. Might actually lose another one. Needs to be careful here. There are 4 queens out. Right. And those 4 queens are going to be more than enough to deal with these Banshees.
Yeah, and you mentioned good map control right now. I just wanted to go ahead and take a second here to address some of the more diverse players in the community. This is one of our new maps. This is Darkness Falls, which really interesting features. One of the most interesting things I think is the 3rd location here for Tomomo. If you look at the 3rd, a very great spot here for Terran to kind of siege up, get their tanks set up, and then start to advance forward on the 3rd expansion of Tomomo. And if that happens, Tomomo's going to be pretty hard pressed to deal with that, but he has multiple attack paths to kind of go around. We also have a very interesting mechanic here with these weeds here. You can imagine so many scenarios with this. I mean, Zerglings running through, Hellions running through, and they're completely hidden in the darkness as well.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting aspect of the map. We'll see if either player uses those. Given the spawns, I think the high ground right here is going to be a really important location, especially for both players, but the Terran can use it offensively, and the Zerg needs to be worried about it defensively. Wow. DDE actually attacking at a really strange timing window. Let's see what Tomomo has to hold this off. It doesn't look like he has very much. He still has those queens from earlier, I believe, but
can't lose them though. He
doesn't have any units to deal with this. I'm surprised he didn't see this coming. He didn't have any scouts prepared, and he could be in a lot of trouble here. Ling's just now coming out, and he's going to be able to surround this. I think he might have enough to take out these Banshees. Those queens do have transfuses, and there we go. Cleans up everything on the ground, and it looks like he will actually hold off this attack and take out a tank and a handful of Marines as well.
Just barely, man. I mean, that was a pretty clutch hold-off right there, as he got his Zerglings out just in the nick of time, and he had barely enough queens, and he had the queens to deal with the air units, he had the Zerglings to deal with the ground units. He's going to repel the Terran attack for now, and it almost looks like we're stabilizing a little bit here, man. We have a macro game on our hands on one of the new maps, which, you know, I'm really excited about, because I want to see macro games on these new maps. But the one thing that I want to call attention to you guys again is Tomomo's going to have a really hard time getting a 3rd. Almost to the point that I feel like maybe he's going to forego going for a macro game, because honestly, the only 3rd that makes sense is expanding up to the top right. I don't... We talked about this before, Pain User. You never want to expand towards a Terran player. I'm a big I'm big at that, and I'm bad at that. I've expanded toward Terran players many times, and that's why I lose. So it looks like Tomomo's just going to do it. He's going to expand towards a Terran player, which is going to be problems for him.
Which is interesting, because as a Terran player, I'm a huge proponent of actually expanding towards the Zerg.
Yeah.
I think as a Terran player, it makes a lot more sense, because you can push in the direction that you're expanding. You can defend your expansion and be offensive and aggressive at the same time.
Right.
As a Zerg player, yeah, you definitely want to keep your expansions as far away from the Terran as possible. So I think we'll see him take his natural third here, which is the base right outside of his natural. And we say natural is just like a natural progression of where you would expand. It's the next closest spot.
Exactly.
And then he'll probably expand along the right-hand side of the map vertically. And take those expansions.
Yeah, I think Tomomo will probably, once he gets another base down, because every base in StarCraft 2 gives you more economy, and you need more bases to continue playing the game towards the late game, he's probably going to expand vertically, as I said before. He did try to get this one. No, he lost it, and now he's going to go for it again. So once again, going to grab this one, which, you know, I don't agree with. And now we see DDE expanding over to the side rather than towards the Zerg. So he's actually taking more of a Zerg mindset here, expanding away from the Zerg player.
They're both taking their natural thirds right now, so I think it makes sense for them both to be taking these right now. As a fourth base, if DDE expanded away and if Tomomo expanded towards him, it would be kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I think right now they're both just taking their natural expansions, and wow, look at all that infrastructure from DDE.
That's a lot of barracks and a lot of factories.
Yeah, he's working off 5 racks right now. He's got all of his upgrades going. His infrastructure is actually looking really good, but his opener didn't really translate well into a good infrastructure. He opened with, what was it, 4 Banshees?
A lot of Banshees,
yeah. Opened with 1 and then added 3 more and did a push after the initial harass. So he invested so much in those pushes early on in the game that at this point, his infrastructure is actually a little bit behind, although it does look pretty impressive now at this stage. He could be much farther ahead, and he still actually has a few Banshees here, which is kind of random. A lot of times you will not see Banshees mixed into a Terran player's composition.
I don't hate the Banshees. I mean, they're not too bad at dealing with infestors in small groups. They can certainly harass the infestors and force them to use energy to deal with the Banshees. I think that's what we're going to see here. There's some fungal growths going down. It will chain lock the Banshees with 1 area of fungal growth, so that's pretty good right there. And actually, that was a big mistake from DDE. He's going to lose most of his Banshees here without really doing any damage at all, except expending the energy of the infestors. And there goes both Banshees. And the infestor's really a caster unit for the Zerg player. It's a unit that has 3 spells. It can spawn little infested Terrans, which are basically Marines, and it can also launch a fungal growth which locks down enemy units and does some damage, and it also can mind control with a tentacle that it latches onto the opponent's brain, and it can mind control an enemy unit.
The brain tentacle, if you will.
Tentacle,
and
yes.
Double drop going off here from DDE towards the main. Interestingly enough, Tomomo all over that. Look at his vision on the map. He has a perfect array of units outside of the Terran base to scout any kind of incoming drops or anything like that.
Yep.
And he also has a burrowed Zergling right there that's going to be they're all burrowed. So he has burrowed Zerglings in position to see the Terran forces moving out here, and they all get fungled. These Lings are going to be able to clean that up, and he'll probably just chain fungal that medevac and take it down. But he forgot about his main for a second, wasn't paying attention, and now 2 full medevacs worth of Marines are making their way in here. They're going to be able to deny both of these evolution chambers. This is really going to slow down Tomomo's upgrades. He might even lose his layer, perhaps a few queens here. No, it looks like those Zerglings are going to stream in and be able to clean that up. Yeah,
I mean, DDE was faced with a decision there. Do I go for the Evo chambers? Do I go for the economy? Do I go for certain tech structures? He decided to go for the Evo chamber, which isn't a bad decision. It's a decision that he made, but by doing so, he allowed the Zerg to get enough time to come back and defend the economy and other buildings of importance. But he's going to come back in again, and now the infestors are over at the 3rd, so they're not really in range to deal with the medevacs, although they may be, and they are. And that's going to clean up the medevacs.
I'm actually surprised at the range there from the low ground. That 1 infestor really coming in the clutch right there, able to hit those fungal growths from down below. And now we have DDE actually well ahead on harvesters. He has great income. He's just down 1 base right now, but he might try and pick off. Oh, wow! It's fungled with all those units inside the medevac, so those are all going to go down unless he. Okay, nope. I thought he was going to let it away for a second.
Yeah. Wow, I thought he was going to let it away, but no, it will get cleaned up. He has so many infestors now. He can actually afford to just expend energy because he has so many. They're all regenerating over time, and that just means more fungals, more infested Terrans, more if he wants to get Neuroparasite. But right now, it looks like he wants to get a Spire.
Yeah, so he's going to go into Spire, and he's also teching to Hive, so I think he's going to try and get some Broodlords out. He might get a small pack of Mutalisks before the Broodlords to help deal with these drops, but I don't think so. It looks like he's actually building Roaches right now, so gonna add Roaches and Lings into the mix. Still no Banelings, which I find very strange. I think he can more than afford them right now, and I think they wouldn't do anything but help his current situation. Banelings are a great unit, especially when you have this kind of excess money.
Yeah.
Zerg player is sitting on 4K, 2K right now, and when you have that much money in the bank, you can afford to make more supply-effective units like Banelings. Well, yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't make Banelings right now.
I would love to see DDE kind of make that transition into Ghost too, which I think he was starting to make. And the Ghost, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, they are. The Ghost is the spellcaster equivalent, I would say, of the Infestor, about the same tech level, and it allows it to EMP, which basically neuralizes all the energy from any casting unit, and also has a sniper spell cast as well, which can do a lot of damage. And there's Banelings being made on the field, along with 9 Mutalisks that I saw in the production tab. So we have a really grandiose amount of tech out for the Zerg. He's just using almost every facet of the Zerg army right now. Very interesting. Now he's going to get a big flank here, but it looks like most of these units going to get caught in the bushes as there's high ground vision.
He's in a lot of trouble here. Great positioning from Tomomo right there. Look at all those infested Terrans. That is a ton. They're just going to take out all those siege tanks. And that's just pure energy right there. He's not even using units to kill most of the Terran army. He's just using the energy from his infestors. And when you're trading energy for actual supply and army of your opponent, it's always a really good thing. Actually, the remaining Marines there ripping things up and staying alive. But DDE lost all of his tanks right there, so his tank count got reduced to nothing.
For essentially energy.
Yeah, for essentially energy. And Tomomo is actually in a really good spot right now. DDE has to make something happen, but he really just doesn't have that much of a standing army. He's only at 156 supply right now. Tomomo's maxed at 200, so...
And wow, he's making 5 Ultralisks right now, as you guys can see on production. There they are. So 5 Ultralisks about to hit the field as well, Pain User, and... Man, when those Ultras come crashing through with the Cracklings and the Infestors and even Mutas, I have a hard time imagining DDE holding this off. He's got to get more bulk in his army, man. Right now, he really lacks that bulk to really be able to deal with anything, and I would love a switch into Marauders right now or more Ghosts, but really, it just seems like a very flimsy Marine tank army. He is using the terrain pretty well. This is a great spot, but so many Infestors. Look at the fungal growth and the Lings and Mutas. They are crashing through everything, and the tanks are going down as well, but it looks like DDE just barely enough to hold by the skin of his teeth.
And he's also going to secure his 4th with that, so he's getting a 4th base up at the same time. You see a bunch of mules going down there at the 4th, but all these Ultras coming out for Tomomo could be problematic. And he sees them now. He gets fungled, runs into a bunch of Ultralisks, which are most definitely the strongest unit that the Zerg can make. Super tank unit. These Ghosts might help deal with them in that they can snipe. If he gets enough Ghosts, he can chain snipe some of those Ultras, but he certainly doesn't have enough right now. And look at how many creep tumors are in the center of the map right now. It's like a cancerous growth on the mini-map.
Yeah.
Tomomo has been doing a great job of that, spreading his creep all over the place right now. He just has a queen that's on creep patrol in the middle of the map.
I totally agree, man. He's got great creep spread right now, and that creep is going to help boost the Zerg speed.
Wow,
any unit on the creep goes so quickly. Now, they are off the creep, so they slow down a little bit, but look at how many Ultras and Zerglings there are. They're just going to come right through this tank army. Now, the Ghosts are firing their sniper rounds, as you guys can hear, and it looks like it's still not going to be enough. There's just so many Ultras Although there are a couple of tanks back here, it's going to be a close one, but more Ultras coming through, and that will be enough to crush this Terran army. And even if something comes out, there are still Infestors waiting with more infested Terrans, so DDE is in a lot of trouble right now.
Yeah, he's in huge trouble. He might let him. GG is called. DDE just straight up